welcome back. It's lovely to see you again. I haven't posted a video for some time now, so I apologise for that. I've been doing lots of things. I've been finishing working at one school, and I should be starting again at a new school in September. So it's all go this end. I've been on holiday. I've done lots of bits and bobs. I'm looking around my workroom now. I'm still not quite finished. I have been sorting out all my bits and bobs because, well, I'm sure if you're like me, you end up collecting things and you actually forget what you have got. So my daughter said, look, Mum, sort out your basket, sort out your boxes, have a good old rummage and see what you've got. And I have to say, since I've done that, I've realised I've got some unfinished projects. I've also got lots of scrap material I seem to have collected. So I've been doing a big, I won't call it a stash bust so much as a reorganisation, curating. And yes, I have got rid of some of the bits and bobs, or I bundled them up ready to get rid of. And that's how it works. But today's video is a bit of a strange one in so much as I end up showing you what I do with this whole bag. In fact, it's half the size. This bag was absolutely chock-a-block full of bits, scraps if you like. Some of them might have thrown them away. But I've ended up, and I'll show you how I've done it, I've ended up creating little, what I call slow stitch kits, which I should sell at the Textiles East Fair. I show you how I construct this. I even show you how I recover my little lining mat. A bit odd, but having said that, if you don't want to invest in an expensive ironing mat and you want to create your own, then you'll see how I did mine. It's homespun, shall we say. And I also talk about that if the bits are too small, become crumbs, they go in these. Get to the point now, I'm not sure whether I need to get rid of those. We'll see. I'm still, as I say, clearing out. What I have also noticed, a couple of things, is one of my kits I sold at the Textile East Fair, the video hasn't worked properly, it's corrupted on YouTube, so I'm going to have to reload that, and I will be reloading that for the public, so it will be a public viewing. And it's a slow stitch tin. Now I've only got 2 tins left, so if you want to order one you'll have to comment on that video, but that will be coming up in a future video. What else? I'm finishing off my advent calendar, that's going to be a future video, and I've actually started a new project involving a Macawa panel, that's how you pronounce it, Macawa. It's really pretty with foxes. And I'm going to do a snug, what I call like a snuggle quilt, lap quilt, to go in my living room because it's getting chilly now, starting to get chillier. Though it's supposed to be reaching 28 degrees today here. So yeah, enjoy this video. As I say, but bear with it because, as I say, it's a bit strange in so much that I've done 3 different things in one video. So enjoy. If you haven't subscribed, do subscribe. If you're not sure about why I'm here, it's Textiles East Fair. There is a website. We run 2 fairs. That's a bit of news I need to inform you on actually. We've been going now for 10 years, doing just a spring fair. Initially it started in a school. We've now moved into a Burgess Hall Conference Centre in St Ives, Cambridgeshire. I have to keep saying Cambridgeshire because people keep thinking we're in Cornwall. We're not, we're in Cambridgeshire. We are expanding into Newmarket Racecourse, which is just on the Suffolk-Cambridgeshire border. So, and that's going to be the autumn fair. Not this year though, because it takes a whole year to organise. So it's going to be next year. So if you're in the Suffolk, Norfolk area, not far from Newmarket, then you might want to check out the website and find out who's coming. We've got some bookings already. Obviously, we build up slowly over the year. So do keep an eye on our Facebook, keep an eye on the website. And I've just mentioned just now a minute ago, if you haven't subscribed, do subscribe. It's free, and it will alert you to when, especially if you click the little bell, it'll alert you to when I've released a video, because at the moment it's very sporadic. I try to get one out once a month, but yeah, it's when I'm teaching full time, it's tough to get these videos out. I don't think people realise how much editing time it takes. Well, it does me anyway. Anyway, lovely to see you. Have a look at what's going on, and I look forward to seeing you again soon. I've been trying to sort out my workroom. It's got into a bit of a muddle, and I'm slowly working through all my fabrics. and I'm trying to organise them into different sizes. So I have anything larger than a metre by a metre goes in one basket. Anything smaller I fold up, almost like handkerchief size. I'll fold up and put into plastic bags, colour coordinate them into plastic bags, and put them in a basket. So I'll show you what I mean, so you can see. That's my green basket, a brown basket, well, bag I should say, and these are little IKEA bags, Ziploc, and it keeps the dust off them. And I've got various bags for different colours. That's sort of a different type of green, and I might have a bit of a mix of polyesters, silks, cottons in there. The only ones I keep separate are my organzas and my velvets. I keep them separate, and so they're stored in baskets like that. And I've got 4 baskets, and the bags, I've got different colour bags, obviously blues, greens, purples, etc. The really small crumbs you often see behind me in little jam jars, and they're pieces that are probably not much bigger than a palm of your hand. And then I've come across a bag of this, and I'm thinking, oh my goodness, it's a bit of a mixed bag, because some pieces are actually, you know, not a bad bit. It's quite a decent piece, and that's a decent piece. And I'm thinking I need to organise this now into decent pieces and what I definitely call a crumb. So I'm going to sort through, I'm going to pull out these decent pieces, give them a bit of a press, and organise a bit. And then I'm not really sure what I'm going to do. We shall see. So as I say, I'm going to organise these into, I'm going to have to cut off these. I don't know why I do this. I'm sure I'm not the only person who does that. I'm going to cut that off, I think, and then I've got a decent piece. So yes, you'll see me sorting for a bit, and then I shall iron them. These are fabrics I was using in bunting, so a lot of it's got triangular angles to it. You look at a bit and you think, oh, have I kept that? What was I thinking? Anyway, I'll see you later, and then hopefully you'll see there's some progress. This is my desk ironing mat, and I originally made it out of, I think it was a bottom of a drawer. You know, that wood you get in the bottom of an old drawer. And I put a little bit of cotton batting on it, covered it in a linen tablecloth, and I use this as my ironing mat. Now, as you can see, I've clearly been ironing using Bonder web, and it's got stuck to my ironing board because obviously I wasn't paying attention. And I think it's about time that I recovered it, so I've cut myself a new piece of calico just to cover that. I'm not going to take that old bit off because it doesn't need to be. I'm just going to iron it a little bit, and then all I'm going to do is use my staple gun and just staple down the back, and that does for me. I'm happy with that. I only get this lining board out as and when for small pieces, and I don't want to get the big one out. So I'm going to go grab the stapler and staple it. then I'm just going to do some kind of box corner here. So whether I choose to do it like that, or whether I choose to fold it and do that, I think I'll just stick to doing that and then doing like a parcel. Doesn't really matter. It's only me using it, it's not like it's got to be precious. It's going to make it a little bit lumpy on the table, but it's okay, not a problem. Now, the first time I did it, I chose linen because linen could take quite a high temperature. I've gone for the cotton calico this time because that can still take a high temperature, and it's what I had to hand, in all honesty. And there we go. So, nice clean ironing mat, so I can continue ironing my squares, my little bits. Yeah, what I've ended up doing is I've been cutting up all the bits of material, tidied them up, put them in a pack. I've added some lace and a little bow and some little bits of yarn, and now I am now just adding some buttons, and then I am going to sell them at the next Textiles East Fair. So if you want a little slow stitch kit, all bits of material and some threads and some bits of lace and a couple of buttons, then as I say, I've managed to make 2 packs, so they'll be at the show. And I'll put my buttons all away now, and then I shall probably do the same to a lot of my other kits. Right, now I'm left with the strips. Well, I've sorted out the bigger pieces and I've put them into those little packs, so they're like little what would you call them, slow stitch packs with little bits of fabric in. Well, I say bits, you know, quite decent sizes. So now I've ended up with the real big little scrappy bits, and then sort of more like strips. So the strips, what I might do is lay them all out on a piece of I've got to iron them, put them on a piece of Iring, that's interfacing, one that has a layer of adhesive. When you iron it, it activates. It's called iron-on interfacing. We call it Iring, that's the brand. And I'm just going to use these up like this. What I then do, I've got absolutely no idea. I'm just going to basically play and use up all these remnants. They're obviously trimmed off things, whether that's a selvage, for instance. I've got selvages here. I've got ends of trousers that I've trimmed off to adjust for people, and some of these I don't know whether they're that's part of that bit. And then I'm going to stitch, I think, it could be quite an interesting, almost sea-like, not intentional, but sort of a base fabric for something. Well, as I say, never know where it's going to end up. I should just carry on playing. So next time you see me, you'll probably see me ironing that onto some violin. I've laid all my strips down. I'm going to put that there in there to break that dark blue up, but that won't stick because this is I've put on, this is violin, and I'm just placing them all down, and I'm just using a bit of pattern paper, it could be grease paper, and I'm just really pressing down on it. Now the reason I'm using pattern paper or greaseproof paper is because these fabrics are all different temperatures, but the temperature has to be high enough, hot enough, for the violin glue to actually melt, and at the moment it doesn't seem to be melting brilliantly, probably because it's a very old piece. And if you can see, that's now ironed down, ready for me to machine stitch. You can machine or you can hand stitch. Okay, I've selected some threads. I've got a different mix here of threads, cotton, polyesters and rayons. So I shall just be stitching away using various patterns on the machine. I'll just bring you up and hopefully you can see this is an embroidery machine with an extensive array of patterns, but to be honest with you, zigzag, straight stitches, you know, you can move it around, free motion, you can do whatever stitch you like, but I never really get to play with my pattern stitches, so I thought today this machine needs a run. It's a silver. I don't think this particular model is still available, but I do love it. So I'm going to set the machine up here so you can see what I'm actually stitching, and just sit and enjoy seeing what stitches I have. I don't know if you can see the, oh there we go, there's the pattern. I've decided not to go straight, I've decided to go all over the place, none of the fabric's straight, so I think if you go with the, you know, accentuate the curviness of it, so you can see here, if you focus, there you go, I've come off and I'm coming back on, and I should just get something across here. I'm going to put some thread. Basically I'm just stitching for the sake of stitching. I'm just selecting different patterns. I wouldn't choose the very tight pattern, the satin stitch ones. Choose the sort of more elongated, longer ones. Quite like, Let me see, might go for 33 next. I think what's quite interesting, I'm using the satin stitch on here, and I say it's interesting because my needle is clearly very blunt and it's beginning to create these like dragging effects. Now I actually quite like that. A lot of people would say no, that's wrong, it's fault, you shouldn't be stitching with a blunt needle, and you shouldn't really, but I finished that and I'm going to change my needle up. But I actually do quite like the effect it's given. But you can see how I'm just doing, it's quite open stitch. It's not, as I say, not a satin type stitch. So just keep stitching on. And I say you'll rejoin me later, I'm sure, as I start to build up this design bit by bit. Right, hopefully you can see that I've actually done quite a lot of stitching already. I've used the pale variegated, I've used the bright blue, and I've just done lots of different stitches. Now at the moment, this is what I call my ugly stage, because it's looking ugly. It needs more layers. So what I shall be introducing next is couching, whereby I get a cord, I set the machine to a zigzag, and then it can be any sort of knitting yarn, it can be embroidery floss, be whatever you fancy that you just couch down. So when you're couching, you can use things like baby yarn. This is like a crochet yarn. I've got almost like a ribbon type yarn that I can then sew on, and you just build up your layers. So to do that, you can buy couching feet, and I do have one, but you can get away with using the regular foot. I don't know if that's in focus. What I might do is zoom in. Now, depending on the colour of your thread, I've chosen to use a thread colour similar to this, but you can get some really unusual effects by using contrasting threads and stitches. So really play around with it. I'm just setting my machine to zigzag. I'm going to check the width. The width of it's too big, so I'm going to come down in width. A little bit too big. Okie dokie. And then what I can do, and why this foot, I've got like a little slot, I can just slot it through, and then I can just sew. Just bring that forward, you will see how that has couched down. Using a regular foot and not a couching foot does mean on occasions you will invariably miss, and you'll have some wool that hasn't got the zigzag on it. That does happen, so please be aware. But I'm going to be building up these layers using this technique, and as I say, it's up to you whether you want to change to your couching foot. And I'm going to carry on, and I'll come back and show you how I'm getting on in a bit. Hopefully you can see that from that, where it's just stitching, by adding some couching, some yarn threaded on, zigzagged on, you'll see how that's building up the layers. And on the next layer, I'm going to put some embroidery silk, so it's a bit shiny, and some metallics, just to give it the top layer. So this is like a rayon, and I'll probably use that. And I'll get a metallic as well. Right, I'm hoping you can see, it will focus for us, that there's some metallics stitched in here, a little bit here. That's that next layer. So if you compare that with the couched and stitched, and then compare that to barely stitched, so you can see how it goes from that and then it builds up to that. Now you could choose to just do that, so you've got a contrast between heavily worked and hardly worked. That might be a look you might want. I mean, this piece of fabric now I can cut up into small pieces and use it as birthday card embellishments. I could use it as a whole piece and turn it into a cushion cover. I could turn it into a book cover. I will show you, I did do a piece of artwork using a similar technique, and I'll quickly show you that now. This is a piece of artwork that used a very similar technique, and you can see I've used it as a background. And if I come in a little bit, come a bit closer, you can then see the different fabrics and the different textures that I've achieved with that. And I've also got like a gradiated colour effect, so you know, you can gradiate your colours, you can change the wool you use to get the different effects. And if I come back out, you'll see that's part of the fenland landscape, which is round where I live. So I hope that's given you some ideas and some inspiration, and I look forward to catching up with you again soon. Bye bye for now.